Here's a bit of a woodworking trick using a Festool track saw. I've got 3 of these big walnut pieces that I need to glue together. So I need to get this joint right here in the middle to be perfect so there's no gaps at all. I already flattened one side with the slab flattener, and then I ran these through the planer so they're perfectly parallel. But the joint right here now isn't exactly perfect. So normally what I would do is I would now take this plank over to the jointer and simply run it on the jointer to get the edges perfect. But because these are 10 feet long and quite heavy and I'm by myself, it's kind of hard to lift and maneuver those along and get it perfect. Sometimes it tilts a little bit at the beginning or the end and then you end up with little gaps. But this is a way that I can guarantee that I have a perfect cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and butt these 2 up against each other, and then I'm going to set my track on here exactly in the middle of that line and then run the saw down it. But to make sure that they don't move at all while I'm cutting and to make sure that everything stays nice and straight, I'm gonna grab these 2 pieces right here, and then I'm gonna grab this pre-drill and a drill bit. And I'm gonna take these pieces and just drill 2 holes. And I'm gonna come and lightly put a clamp on here. It's not 100% necessary, but I'm just gonna put a little bit of pressure on it, and that way nothing moves when I go to put those in. I'm gonna take one of these pieces here, and then in the 2 screw holes that I made, I'm gonna screw in each one. Then I'll do the same thing down here on the other end. And then I can take the clamp off. And the reason I don't go along and put 1 or 2 or 3 clamps is the clamp is putting some pressure. And as I run my saw blade along and cut through, it's gonna make those boards wanna squish together a bit more, which number 1 might pinch your blade, and number 2 might make the cut uneven depending on how the boards move. This way, with those 2 pieces on the end, it's holding it in the same position the entire time. And now I can come over here and move my track right up to and almost at that cut line. Then I can come under here and slide one of these clamps in and clamp the track in place. Then I can bring the saw over here and set it on the track. And then I'll bring the blade down here and check and make sure that it's riding right in the middle of that line. So it's cutting a bit on the one board on this side and a bit off of this side. Now for this to work with just 1 cut, the gap that you had right here, nowhere along that entire cut can be any wider than the kerf of the blade. If it is, then you're gonna have some areas where it's done right and some areas where there's still a gap. In the case where there's still a gap, you can take these pieces off the bottom, butt it up again one more time, and then do the cut again, keeping the track clamped to this same one in the exact same spot. And that way it's gonna cut exactly along that same line on this board, but this one's gonna get moved over. You'll do 1 more kerf width cut, and that will probably bring you all the way over. So now I can take these off the bottom. Before I take this one off, I'll come and I'm gonna butt this one up against it. And what I'm checking for is to make sure that this gap right here then closes up completely. And I like that. That looks really good all the way along there. And now I can make my marks and cut in the domino mortises.